Welcome back to a best of 3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on a Lightshade. Spawning here in the top left hand corner of the map and playing with the red Terran SCVs. From France, we're looking at none other than Clem's main command center. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Armani, and Armani of course is from South Korea. Clem currently on Team Liquid. He joined a little while ago. He's on Team Liquid together with Euthermal, Mana, Hearthstone, and Kalazur. And technically speaking, I believe Teja is still on that team as well. But for some reason, I couldn't actually find any Teja games that he has played in like the last 3 months. So I don't really know exactly what's going on there. But regardless, of course, Clem has been absolutely killing it. As of me making this video, he's currently the rank 5 in the world. Armani, currently the rank 31. He's on the team Africa Freaks, together with Stats and TY. Even though it's only a 3-man team, he obviously is in a very highly ranked team because Stats, TY, and Armani are some of the best players that we have in the world. Especially Stats and TY are amongst the very best in, well, the Protoss and in the Terran races. Sue, I believe, is technically only Africa Freaks as well, now that I mention it. But, I mean, Sue is currently doing his mandatory military service. So we'll see if he decides to even come back to StarCraft 2 after he finishes that duty. But I guess we'll find out, right? In about, I think like a year or so from now. Regardless, it is going to be that hatchery on the low ground right here, followed up with a gas geyser, and then also that spawning pool. Clem is going to go for the standard Reaper, and then the command center on the low ground. I love this little move, actually. Oddly enough, sending this SCV scout is very uncommon on the ladder. I've noticed a lot of Terran players recently are skipping this. So the reason why you want to send this SCV across the map in front of your Reaper is usually just to see if it's a hatchery on the low ground, right? Even though more often than not you will see a Zerg player going for a hatchery first, there is always the chance that Zerg decides to go for a pool first. So there you go. Clem sees that there's a hatchery right now on the low ground, and he will go ahead and now send that Reaper across the map safely. If it would be a pool first, right, and you only scout with the Reaper, the problem is that if Zerg were to go pool and then send a couple Zerglings, you know, for example, on the left side of the map, they can kill the SCV that's building the command center, and then Terran will end up hitting a supply block, or even, you know, sometimes the command center is killed. It's a disaster. And even though it won't come into play every single game, it's very, very helpful, just in case it would be a pool first. I guess it's kind of uncommon these days, but I think it's a small little move to make. Take the small little hit right on the economy, and then go from there. Interestingly enough, there's no link speed started yet, and he's left 2 drones on gas. 2 Zerglings were killed here as well, which is not ideal, but he's going Overlord speed first. Okay. Interesting. So I tend to cast a lot of Serral and Raynor and a lot of dark games, right? I try to cast the best Zerg players in particular, but this is cool too. So this is something that we wouldn't really see those other Zerg players do too often. Overlord speed first. He's going to be able to scout out exactly what's going on. However, with link speed being so delayed, I mean, it's still not even started. Okay, there it is. If this would be just like 4 Hellions that right-click into a mineral line, there could certainly be a little bit of a problem right there for Armani. So we'll see if he decides to solve that here in just a little bit. OV speed obviously will give him the full information that he's looking for. So there it is. He's going to be able to figure out that everything is normal. So he sees the timing of the starport, the tech clip, and everything else that's going on right now. Just the classical 1-1-1 right now. But obviously the Overlord speed at this point is spotted as well here by Clem. I wonder if he decides to play this a little bit more aggressively right now. I think you can get in actually with 4 Hellions. Oh, actually, ooh, what was that? Was that a Roach Warren? Or Bailing Nest? I don't know. No, it has to be a Roach Warren if it is a second gas right now as well. He decided to cancel that. Maybe it's because he sees right now that there's a cloaking field coming up, so he knows at this point that it's more than likely going to be a Banshee opener here for Clem, unless Clem is playing a 700 IQ move. And he just started up the upgrade and then isn't actually going for the... that's not super common anymore, but we used to see that quite a bit, where they just go like a Liberator first, but still start up the Tech Lab upgrade. Armani actually goes back in just to confirm that that exactly is going on here as well. So nicely done. He sees double Tech Lab, so at this point you know that it's going to be a bio follow-up here as well, if you are the Zerg player. You know what? Link speed at this point is done. The R6 Hellions should be able to defend those right now, though. He's only got 4 links. I've got a feeling you guys are in some trouble. Okay, well, at least one of the drones is going to be in trouble. Very greedy player, though, from Armani, right? You can see that this could have spiraled out of control very easily. It's one of the reasons why that Overlord's vision has to be so good. You have to make sure that your queens are, like, you know, tracking those Hellions as well, so that they're always in the right spot. Anyways, so Banshees come in right now. It already got one kill. It sees the timing here of the lair, which is helpful. Looks like that is the conventional timing, so always good for Clem to know that. He knows at this point, though, that it's not going to be very quick double Evo Chamber upgrades, so he could certainly go for a timing attack himself a little while later. While those units are distracted in the natural right now, it looks like the Banshee got a couple kills there. He tried poking in over at the third base as well, but only 3 drones right now in total. Very quick Spire here from Armani. So we're going to be seeing that Mutaling Bane style here, I'm pretty sure. Does he still not have a Baneling Nest? Huh. He's playing this very differently than some of those other highly ranked Zerg players would. Kind of cool. I guess he's realized with that Ovi Scout, hey, that he doesn't... Ooh, hold that thought. No, I think he realized at this point that he doesn't really need to get himself that Baneling Nest super quickly. He's already up to 600 gas, so by the time that Spire finishes, he can produce like 10 Mutas. I'm just a little bit concerned if this would be like a Siege Tank Marine push, because Baneling speed here is going to be super duper late. There it is, man. 6-minute Baneling Nest. So just to put that in perspective, normally we start that one up at about 4 minutes. So that one's certainly late. So I guess the defense here, if there would be a push from Clem, it's just going to be Zerglings and Mutas. I mean, maybe it's like StarCraft 1, you know, you're going to be fine. But anyways, gases will finish up over at the third base as well for the Zerg player. And in the meantime, of course, we see that third command center now landed on the low ground. Well, soon it's going to be landing right there on the low ground as soon as that little bit of creep disappears. And he's going to be able to continue mining here. So wait. Oh! Okay, so he actually starts up even the flyer upgrade first. This feels like a slightly inefficient build, to be honest, here from Armani. Like, you could see the amount of gas that he still has. He's now favoring Baneling speed, but it almost feels like he could have started up that Baneling speed like a minute or two earlier. And then he would be totally fine against a push like this. Right? Because if you're going to be saving gas, you should really spend all of it on Mutas if you're going to be rushing out Mutas. But if you're then going to make, you know, 6 Mutas and you're sitting at 300 gas, why did you not get Baneling speed sooner? Because right now this push is going to be pretty hard to defend. Yeah. Certainly a slightly inefficient build right now from Armani. Now, it looks like he's going to go for a counterattack. Okay. I know Armani is actually really fond of counterattacks. I've seen him in this situation many times before, where he feels, okay, I can't hold this. You know what? Let me just send everything that I've got across the map, while defending with a couple units here at home as well, the reinforcing units, that is. We'll put the queens on the high ground. Lynx decide to come back around. Not a whole lot of damage is done, though. Clem obviously very good at that defense. The Hellbats now join in as well. That's obviously those Hellions that we saw earlier. They're now running towards that natural mineral line. Good pull right there on those drones. Don't need Speedy Banes, though, for a couple of those Hellbats. Mutas come back home, of course, as well. They're super fast. I think that this is going to be cleaned up here, but interesting choice right now by Armani here in general, though. So those Evo Chambers are late. The Baneling speed is late. I don't think you want to be copying this build. I guess he's really dependent on that quick Ovi speed of his. But there's... I don't know. I feel like there's like multiple opportunities here for the Terran player to close it out before the 8-minute mark if Clem picked up on this. He probably assumed that there was going to be just a Baneling Nest at a normal timing. Anyhow, so fourth base gets spotted. Obviously, the low ground one over here was killed. So Armani at this point is double expending. He needs to get a 5th base up at this point as well. Well, he can technically lose this one, but this is going to be a super difficult position to defend. And once again, whenever that happens, I'm pretty sure Armani is going to counterattack. Yeah, he looks at this situation right now. He realizes, crap, there's absolutely no way. I'm just going to go ahead and send all my stuff across the map instead. I love what Terran players do these days, where they rally on top of a supply depot there. So one lower depot, and everything is rallied on top of that. Glamdo realizes, okay, I've got probably enough. Yeah, he thought about it at the very least to continue onwards towards the third. Would be a bit of a gamble. If you lose 4 tanks at this point, that could be a disaster. 4th command center is about halfway done at this point, so really conservative play here by Clem, but he's slowly pulling further and further ahead. He's got +2/+2, about, I would say, like 75% of the way done, and 1-1 is only just now finishing. Now, Drilling Claws actually gets the Knight, so that's the upgrade right there to those Widow Mines. But I think Clem can go for an all-out assault in about 30 seconds time. And if he brings all of the units across the map that he's got, and he's going to be 2 entire upgrades ahead on his bio units, I mean, that's going to be a scary push. This is, for all intents and purposes right now as well, a maxed out Terran army. There's a Thor in the mix. I mean, losing that Drilling Claws upgrade kind of sucks, but it's not really the end of the world. He doesn't have that many Widow Mines anyway. And here we go. 2-2 is going to finish. Creep spread has been contained reasonably well so far here by the French Terran player. Let's see how this goes. Ooh, fighting through this choke. Oh my god! Okay, I think I know what happened there. He probably right-clicked his Marines to go back. However, he walled himself in with his own tanks. And because at that point, the shortest route for those Marines to go, you know, into that direction is to go all the way around. Clem accidentally stimped a bunch of his Marines and panicked into a couple of Banes. That's very unfortunate. I think that was a push that could have potentially won him the game. Instead, right now, he ended up losing a ton of those Marines for basically free. And he may end up losing right now that 4th command center as well. Wow. Very interesting play right here by Armani. I feel like relying on such mistakes might not be ideal against very highly ranked Terran players. But it's working out for him so far. That was so unlucky there, though, for Clem. Yeah, he must have created a full wall up there on accident. This choke point over here has killed me more times than I want to count as well. I've had so many games where I get a bunch of units stuck in this choke as well. It's just... Or like, you're funneling, like, say, one Ultralisk in at a time. It's just super painful. Getting creeped through that choke is also tricky. But anyways... Clem apparently not deterred, even though this is a bit of an anti-timing right now. He's once again maxed out, so he's like, you know what? I've got 2-2. Your 2-2 is going to finish up shortly as well. I know that, but it's fine. At the same time, though, ooh, a couple of Banelings managed to roll into that 3rd base mineral line, and that's 14 SCVs going down. But this army here from Clem is still massive, though. 131 army supply versus 98. Almost 140 right now. Look at the splits as well. I love the way that Clem always does this. He actually only puts a very small margin of his units on the creep, right? Notice how he's only really, like, he's got a massive army on the back of his, and they're still, like, reinforcing units as well. Then once the Banes are gone, he tends to like, hit that stim button. Already, though, the low ground has been evacuated here by Armani. He's now sending those drones to the newly acquired base up north. Here we go. Apparently, this is the point where Armani decides to pull the trigger instead. He's now fighting this Terran player off creep, but I've seen this battle so many times. Yeah, Clem, he always does this, man. Beautiful moves there, super patient. The mutants are going to go around. So while the Marines are distracted, killing that hatchery, I think that all of those siege tanks will get picked off. But at this point, I'm okay with the siege tanks. At the same time, it looks like those Marines over here up north are getting a lot of damage in too. Yeah, I'm okay with him losing those... oh, watch out, watch out. Oh, the Widow Mines! Oh my god. I'm okay with him losing the siege tanks at this point. They don't really have that much value anymore in the later stages of the game. They're good for early game defense, but right now you want to go for the Spidey, boys. Much better against Mutilating Bane. Oh. Remember when he got hit by the Widow Mines? Looks like those mutas were still low hit points, and a couple of them certainly got picked off there. Alrighty. The cost efficiency of Terran is starting to shine through again. And it looks like Armani never really had a really big eco, right? Clem just now stepping fully onto the creep. Armani decides to pull the trigger right now, but I'm not sure if that's the good moment for it, to be honest. Once again, a drop over here. Kills a couple drones as well. Is he going to split? Oh my god, he's splitting on creep against Banelings. Clem is getting better, man. He's still improving. It's so sick. Like, I feel like a lot of people stagnate at some point, but this guy is... he's so good. There it is. GG in game number 1. Every once in a while, whenever I see those top-level Terran players split their Marines against Banelings on creep, I feel inspired, right? And I decide to queue up a ladder game myself as well with Terran. And then you'll find out how incredibly difficult that is. It is so easy to accidentally lose all of your Marines to, like, 2 Banelings on creep especially. Because the Banelings with speed are just simply faster. You have to be so fast with your splits and your target firing and all that. You have to be extremely good at your mouse accuracy, and I think you can only really do that and learn how to do that over the course of years. It's not something that is just, you know, acquired in a couple games. It probably takes thousands, right? And only really a handful of players are really confident doing so. I think Clem does it quite a bit. I know that Maru does it quite a bit. It seems like players like TY are not as fond of it, but I mean, I'm sure he's capable of doing it as well. Beyond, of course, likes doing it too. It's kind of neat though, right? How all the top-level Terran players still have their own playstyle. I mean, for example, like Hero Marine, you can easily pick out a Hero Marine game. Because he loves pushing through the center of the map with a massive army, just patrol pushing all over the place. Maru, for example, tends to max out first, and then starts dropping and hitting the opponent at 3 different locations. Clem is just playing extremely nimble most of the game. Bjorn even more so, obviously. Bjorn loves going for dropships. As soon as he's got the option for it, he will send out a couple of those medevacs across the map. All the top-level Terran players play a little bit differently. I like it a lot. It's really cool. Anyhow, let's see how this game is going to go. So once again, an SCV is leading the charge. So for those of you wondering, this is basically the SCV that comes right after the barracks finishes, and then another SCV starts up the command center right here on the low ground. Overlord over here is spotted by the Terran player here as well. Interestingly enough, this is also a little bit strange. Armani is leaving this Overlord over here. I'm not entirely sure why. Because, like, odds still are that there is going to be some sort of proxy rexing going on, right? So I'm wondering here what Armani's thought process is. I mean, he's really good at the game. But wouldn't it be better to just scout over here with this OV? Right over here, over here, over here, and then back to the high ground? Because you could still, you know, get some extra scouting intel here. I'm not entirely sure, especially since that SCV was spotted by the first OV. It doesn't really give you any advantages. Well, now he's sending it across the map. He must have a reason, though, especially on Korea. If you've never laddered on Korea before, they love cheesing, man. They're super cheesy. They say Americans put cheese on everything, and I know that includes the North American ladder as well. But Korea is even cheesier. It's pretty insane. Essentially what they do is, if you can end the game at the 2-minute mark, why wait until the 7-minute mark, you know? That seems to be the mindset on a Korean ladder. So I'm sure Armani knows very well how to defend against that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like it's so helpful to just scout around a little bit, right? Anyhow. No cheeky starport this time around nearly as quickly. It's going to be a quick barracks right now after the 3rd command center. So double barracks here as a follow-up. I know this is something that some Terran players have been going for recently. I wonder if this is a response to seeing that Overlord speed in game number 1. Because with Overlord speed first, and then a 2nd barracks as a follow-up, even if Zerg decides to go for a roach push right now, they're not going to be able to really get that much done. And then you're significantly ahead with 3 command centers. Stimpec starts up, though. This is very quick Stimpec. Huh. I like this. So this is going to be very late Medivex. Because there's not going to be a starport here for another little while. Basically, this barracks will switch over to that one, and then probably a tech lab, or sorry, a reactor on that one, and another starport here in a little bit. This is one of those, you know, choose your own adventure builds right now from the Terran player. There it is. He's going to get there eventually. All the roads apparently lead towards Marines with Stimpec, but it is, yeah, it is a very safe approach, I suppose, if you like going for that 3rd CC very early on. This does mean, though, that Zerg is completely left to their own devices, right? And that means that Armani has already... Ooh, he's decided to go for an extremely quick lair. He's sitting at 42 drones right now, not adding on any more. So, I don't know exactly what the plan is here. There's a spine crawler. Okay, he does start up a couple more workers, now a couple more Zerglings. I think Armani is one of those players who's extremely reactive. Right? He's just, like, playing on the fly, it seems. Not nearly as rigid, like, as, for example, a Serral. Serral's always very rigid and very stoic in his approach, which I actually think is superior, but... Ooh, it's a Nydus worm. What? He doesn't have a... It's gonna be Queens and Zerglings? Ooh, okay. I'm not sure if I like this, actually. So, I love the idea of going for a Nydus. I think Nydus worms are really cool. The problem is that it's just gonna be Queens and Zerglings here. I think that's fine. However, Stimpec is going to finish up here. Armani has no idea about the fact that Stimpec is going to finish up. He's probably going to go for a Nydus at either the front or the main base. Like, this OV is not here for no apparent reason. So, links are going across. Like, if this was a Roach Warren, right? Like, Roach Ravager with a Queen push, then it would be pretty good. Now, Clem is sending out 2 medevacs at this point as well. So, this is about to get crazy. Nydus will probably go up here very shortly. There it is. Nydus worm inside of that main base of the Terran player. Zerglings right now running over towards the 3rd base. Love the position right there of those 2 Hellions. They'll probably go down here eventually. Links now instead stream into that natural expansion. Those 2 medevacs have decided to turn back around. And here's that Nydus inside of the main base. Brenda, Karen, the whole knitting crew, they're here, man. What are we doing inside of the main base? Oh, I love this, actually. Okay, so he's going for a spine crawler rush inside of his opponent's main base. 8 SCVs have gone down so far. We do now also see a Nydus worm right there on the natural low ground. Oh, so that's what he's doing. Okay, I was wondering how he was going to deal with all of those stimmed Marines. Spine crawlers are pretty good, man. Spine crawlers do not mess around. Oh, this is cheeky. What are we doing inside of the main base of the Zerg? Or of the Terran, rather? We're supposed to be injecting bases. Now, the fact that Stim is done, though, is actually insanely helpful. Second siege tank here is gonna spawn as well for the French Terran. And that's good, man. Those siege tanks are gonna outrange all of this very nicely. Already, though, a ton of SCVs have gone down. Looks like Clem actually hit a small supply block, but luckily for him, he plays Terran, so he can call one of those things from the orbital command. Queen's derping in the back. The spine crawlers are poking away. Zerglings are still going to town over there in the natural, and actually another Nydus is going to finish up there as well, though I think that's mostly just a distraction Nydus. That siege tank over here has been putting in a lot of damage, and that's 18 SCVs going down here so far for Armani. The Queen's actually run around the back. I love it. A spine crawler push, huh? Just a classic 2020 build. Yeah, those siege tanks are insane. If this would have been a Widowmine follow-up, actually, I think this would have been a disaster for Clem. That's why I usually build at least a couple of siege tanks first. I mean, this is still a disaster, though. That's so many SCVs going down. 29 at this point. Okay. So all of a sudden, Clem is right now sitting at 34 SCVs. I think Armani should just give up on this, man. Yeah, just go home. There you go. Once more, though, there's no tech here at all. Double Evo right now? What do you mean double Evo? You need a Baneling Nest, dude. Yeah, oh, there's the Baneling Nest, but that's so late. I'm pretty sure what Clem is gonna do is just load all of his units into Medivacs and go across the map, right? I mean, unless he's threatened here. Love the fact that there's still a tumor over here too, by the way. That could obviously provide a lot of vision. So Clem is gonna... Oh, I like that, actually. He's gonna put a siege tank right over there inside of the main base, so this entire area is gonna be covered. Unless the... You know, the Nydus worm is straight on top of it. Could be another Nydus worm right there in the back. One Zergling is gonna block this CC from landing, but here's that big Terran army moving through the center. I mean, Baneling Nest is not even done yet. What is he thinking with that double upgrade? I don't understand. The double upgrades? I mean, that would work really well if Terran were to just let go of the gas right now, but that's not really a thing that Clem likes to do. There we go. Brenda, Karen, Margaret, all of them. They're gonna get sniped out of the sky. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but they get they get targeted so quickly. And despite the fact that Clem lost close to 30 SCVs just now, actually, I want to see the exact number. He still turned out to be just fine. So I think if Clem would have gone for the more conventional triple CC opener, right? The one where you go barracks, factory, third command center, then starport, he probably would have been in some trouble because he would have had far less Marines. He wouldn't have had Stimpack either. And he probably, instead of like 8 additional Marines, he probably would have had like 1 Liberator instead. And those Queens take care of that very, very quickly. So I like the push right there for Armani, actually. I really love the fact that he decided to go for the spine crawlers, but I guess it's a bit of a gamble, right? Because you can't really scout everything that the Terran is doing at that point. So, yeah, it ended up not working out there. I really don't understand, though, why I decided to go double Evo chamber. Like, the double Evo chamber is so greedy. Double Evo chamber, where you know the Terran can basically do whatever they like, is a little bit much. I think Baneling's speed probably would have made more sense. I also think if this would have been like a Raynor or a Serral doing it, they probably would have given up on the push at like, you know, the 20 SCV kill mark. And they would have droned instead to like 55 and then started up the Baneling Nest at around the same time too. And, you know, go for the Baneling speed right away. If you can then hold that counterattack for Clem, I think Zerg is really far ahead. Cool style for sure. We don't really see Nydus and spine crawlers very often in this matchup, but that worked out surprisingly well, despite the fact that it's a loss. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, I want to give a special shout out to the YouTube members. Thank you all very much for supporting the channel directly. Now, if you want to become a YouTube member as well, you can click the join button right next to the subscribe button if you're watching this on desktop, or you can use the link down below in the description of this video. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.